Intuitive Messenger channel. I am Mitchell, and this is my interview series, and I'm very excited to introduce to many of you Rebecca Campbell. Hello, Rebecca. How are you doing? Are you there? I think we froze up.
Hello, I'm great. I'm really happy to be there with you. Oh,
Wonderful. Yeah, I think we froze up, but you know what? We're going to keep going.
awesome.
I can tell between you and I, there's so much energy that our systems are locking up. So tell us a little bit about who you are, Rebecca. I love to know and find out on camera as well. So tell us who you are.
Okay, so I'm originally Australian, but I've lived in London. I live in London now for about 8 years. So I guess so I grew up on the beaches in Australia, kind of near where Home and Away was filmed. If there's any fans out there, yep. But yeah, and so had a really normal kind of life. But when I was around about 14, just kind of overnight, it felt like I had this spiritual awakening where I was always like an empath and really picking up other people's emotions and feelings and all of that. But it's almost like overnight it just the volume went up big time. And so I kind of like in my own way just found books on past lives and ancient wisdom and all of that, and had some extreme experiences for a young girl, but kind of felt very alone through the process because it was like overnight, suddenly my best friends who I was growing up with, like I couldn't relate with that kind of shared experience. And so I went into what I call a spiritual closet, where I avidly would just absorb as much information and books and courses as I could, but I kind of kept it, it was like I was living a bit of a double life. So as I grew up, I went into advertising, had a great career in advertising, loved it in many ways because I'm creative. You've got to come up with ideas, work with directors and photographers and travel. I loved it. But at the end of the day, I kind of would come home, and I went into advertising as I would call like an undercover light worker, where it was like it was the socially,
I'm with you on that one.
Oh God. And so for me it was like I know I can reach like millions of people and put my positive energy out there. I won't tell anyone that that's what I'm doing, but that is what I was doing. But at the end of the day I'd kind of come home and I'd be exhausted. Absolutely exhausted. I was using coffee big time. I mean, I'm a high energy person and I loved coffee. I still love coffee. I don't drink it now, but I kind of needed things like coffee and just other external things to kind of get me through it. And while I was physically exhausted at the end of the day, there was this other part of me deep, kind of like in my heart or my belly, where I knew that there were gifts within me that I wasn't sharing. And so I knew I was being called to kind of really step up, as a out of the closet light worker, in the sense of like, I knew I wanted to write. Again, I was doing that in advertising, but I wasn't letting my soul and my heart speak. I also knew I wanted to work one-on-one with people and do workshops and all of that. And so I had that call. I heard that call from a very young age, but I didn't act on it as much as bravely as I don't know, was being called to. And then in 2011, it was like the universe is like, come on, girl, like if you're not going to do it, we're going to make you. And so in a period of a couple months, my 11-year relationship crumbled. One of my best friends passed away very suddenly, and he was kind of the only person my own age who I very much shone my light and showed my complete spiritual self. So losing him cracked my soul open, really. And it felt like that was an agreement that we'd make. It was like all of a sudden losing him, I knew that was always going to happen. And then anyway, soon after that, another friend passed away, and then I just could not, my career just didn't fit my soul anymore. And so it was that crumbling of my life around me, which cracked me open and made me go, okay, it's now or never. Do it.
Wow.
And so ever since then, I've just been answering the call very courageously and bravely. And wow, like all these things that I've believed in for so long, the universe really is there to support us when we really tune in and listen to those callings of our soul.
So
And I, sorry.
what are you, and I tell you, what a powerful story there. I love that you say cracked you open and now or never. And the universe really, really, made it very clear it was time for you, it seems. So what type of work do you do? How could someone who wanted to either connect with you either locally or globally, or what services do you offer, and what gifts or talents or abilities, however you label and call them, what are you utilizing at this point in your life?
Okay, so I'm very multi-passionate, so I do a lot of things, which I think you are the same, perhaps.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so I guess I'm a creator first and foremost, so I've got a book coming out this year, which is called Light is the New Black, and that's about finding yours, like really listening to the callings of your soul and bravely leaping out into it. And then also it's pretty much for... so the Dalai Lama said that the world will be saved by the Western woman. And I just love that. And this book is pretty much a response to that.
Because I have said in many gatherings, I'm sitting there and I'm saying, why am I here? Why am I here? And I literally keep hearing, I was in so many groups and still am here to support the feminine and what you're saying, the Western woman. The wellness universe. I don't know if you're familiar with that online group. It's like I look at and I'm like, 85% of the people who follow me are women.
Yes.
I'm in it. I teach group exercise where the majority of the people are women. So I'm surrounded by this, and I am a gay man, but I'm a pretty balanced and strong. Most people always go, I didn't know you were gay first. And I said, I know that's the balance, but I know it's also, I'm designed that way for that, to have the compassion, but also the dynamic masculine aspect to be able to support. So I love that you just said that, because that clicks with me, and I know that's going to click with a lot of people.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's the thing, this kind of rising feminine. It's like, what the hell is that? And you put it so beautifully, where it's kind of like the rise of the feminine isn't the rise of the woman. It's the rise of the feminine in all of us, right?
Yep.
So if I say, even look at my life, well, I was in my advertising career. I was in my masculine a lot because I was pushing, striving, forcing, working hard. I mean, I've always been I'm kind of reframing hard working to being disciplined and showing up. There's the kind of difference, but I was pushing. So I was in my masculine. And so really the shift for me has been being in my feminine, which I can feel you so are. So my friend Kyle Gray, he's just written this, or it's coming out soon, a beautiful book called Wings of Forgiveness, which is really calling in Mary Magdalene and that story, that divine feminine. And so he's a guy, but he is, to me, it's like he is the epitome of divine feminine. And so this feminine is in all of us.
Yep.
So that's the book. I love creating.
Tell them how they can find, because either your website, your blog, or whatever about the book, because I know you said it's coming out in July.
Yeah, coming out in July. It'll be available for pre-order. It's not on there yet, but it will be soon. But best bet is to go onto my website. The direct page is lightisTheNewBlack.com. And if you just sign up there, I'll send you all the details. You can also win. There's 10 different copies, 10 signed copies. There's going to be other competitions going on there with lots of free stuff to get. So go over to lightisTheNewBlack.com. And then my website is RebeccaCampbell.me. And there I've got so I teach meditation, and I teach workshops and stuff, and my favorite meditation is a form of meditation called sourcing, which is very much getting into your feminine. So instead of doing the pushing, it's actually receiving all the light and all the support that the universe has for you. And so I've got a free version of that on my website, so you can just download that.
Yeah, and we'll make sure all those links are below. You can send those to me, and we'll make sure they're below in the video so people can just click right on it as well.
Great.
So cool. So tell us a little bit about the book, and I have to say this: the one of the subtitles is "Working Your Light," and I love that, LIGHT. So what can they find in the book? And you said something earlier I wanted you to repeat, because I love that title, "Working Your Light."
So working your light, to me, is kind of it's really stepping forth authentically as a light worker and claiming your gifts and claiming who you are. So when I work with clients, I work with them. So I've got the intuitive soul background, but I've also got the advertising background, where I've worked with some of the world's biggest brands.
Yeah.
And the thing about us humans, light workers, we were born with what brands spend millions of dollars creating, right?
Right.
Our authentic spirit. And so I kind of say, let your spirit be a brand, because that is our essence, right? And so, yeah, the half of the book is devoted to that, of like coming back home to who you really are and what authentic gifts that you have to share. So it's like you can serve the world by being you. Like this, we were talking before about the crumbling of the things that just aren't working anymore. It's like as has happened in my life, and I'm sure has happened in yours as well, the things that we force, the things that we ignore, the callings and all of that, if we don't answer what is in our heart, in our soul, whatever you want to say, but that inner truth, what tends to happen in my experience anyway is the universe crumbles for us, right? And
something that Spirit downloaded in me, and I repeat a lot to clients, and was one of my focuses on one of my videos one time, was, so many times when things do collapse and do crumble, the instinct for people is to put it back, right back the way it was.
Yes.
And I always say, no, this is your opportunity to reposition the building blocks of your life, to create a different home, a different career, a different relationship. It crumbled for a reason, because it wasn't working. And we want to reach back to and bring things the way they were. And it's like, it's the clean slate. I mean, I do tarot cards, and the Tower card is all about crumbling, dismantling, death, losing the job. And for me, always trying to see how this can be the optimistic, high vibration thing, I use the term, the harvest is done. It's time to till the garden and replant something. Because think about what the end of harvest season is. It's the death of that plant. You got to rip it out of the ground, throw it away. It's gone. It's dead. And you plant something new. And that's that cycle that we go through constantly. So I love that connection there.
That's beautiful. I love that analogy that you've just given. But then I think when you're in that situation, it's hard to see it that way, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. And I think that's where you and I, people like us, come into play in a lot of people's lives. And then also helping, because I'm a big proponent. I don't want you coming in 10 years. If you see me, I'm surprised, because I want you to learn how to fish on your own. I'm not going to just keep giving you the fish, but I also know when you're in crisis mode, sometimes you just need someone to reach out and hold on to and know that you're not crazy, or to give you a sip of water while you're dehydrated, and and let the fire burn down, and then be able to see what's left in the rubble and the ruins. But hopefully they'll never end up in that burning inferno again.
Absolutely. Yeah, and then with that as well, with the season thing, I think, in the one thing I've been kind of pondering with lately is that whole thing of how so many of us use spirituality to kind of make ourselves immune to loss, immune to pain, where actually all of that is part of our experience. I
thank you for saying and echoing that, because about a week or two ago I said, rather than what if none of the emotions are bad, anxiety, depression, they're part of who we are. And I always say, embrace it. 2 days ago, I felt so sad. And I just sat down in the chair and I literally said out loud, I said, hello, sadness, what's going on? I said, come here and sit with me. I said, because you are just as important as when I'm joyful. This sadness, this overwhelming, I don't get emotional, but that just makes me emotional saying it. But it's like, who told you that sadness was a bad thing? Somewhere, the society told us that it's awful to. Now there's different, there's chemically depressed, or that's way out there on the outer, but the average day-to-day feelings and emotions. And I'm a big believer, I monthly sit down and say, I love my partner. It's going to be 8 years next Sunday. I said, am I still supposed to be in this relationship? Is it still working? Is it still serving me for my greater good? And I keep hearing yes. But there may come a day where I may hear no. And he may move on. I may move on. I don't think so at this point. But if it does, I will mourn the loss. and rejoice in the time we had, just like there's the day my mom and dad, I'm going to say goodbye to them in the physical. You know, and I mean, you said goodbye. I said goodbye to a close college friend one time, and I remember just thinking, I was standing at his coffin, and I started laughing because I'm thinking he was such a humorous person. And I said, I know you're too tall for this coffin. I don't know what they did. I'm thinking, did they chop your legs off? And I mean, but I've always been a little odd with death, and I think it's a gift that I have. You know, but also there's 3 animals in the room with me and 2 somewhere else, and I've said goodbye to an animal. I held them as they took their last breath and lost it. I mean, you know, but I would do it again tomorrow. I would do it again tomorrow and embrace how it all felt, because I think that's why we're here. I think one of the bottom line things that we're here for is to experience everything we can, which is the pain, the loss, the joy, the being broke, the having enough to pay all your bills, you know, to having no friends, to having too many friends, that, you know, and just embracing it all. My friend calls it, you know, bring your emotions in for tea. Sit down and have tea with sadness.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
And anger. I'm a big one. When anger pops up in my life, I'm like, woo, what is that? What is that? You know, what is that?
It's like I used to. So I do intuitive readings, and in them often will come up like life lessons, right? And how I used to live my life, and I think a lot of people do, with like life lessons. Right? What is it? Patience. Okay, put it on the list. Have I done it yet? Yes. No. Tick. Cross. You know, like it was this to-do list, and then I realized that actually it's not like that at all. Yeah. And so say if say forgiveness is one of your life lessons, it's not about forgiving, it's about also not forgiving and resenting and experiencing it like a theme of 360 degrees. So when you're getting it wrong, you're actually being really productive.
Yeah.
You know? And then maybe when you've learned the lesson, then you're going to continually just to experience things all around that theme forever, which is really interesting. So it's the feeling into all the 360 degrees of it. I love it.
Experiencing the cycles fully, every kind of cycle we go through, everything. And then, and that's what I love about, I don't know if you use tarot cards, but you know, the Fool's Journey, the monk's journey to enlightenment, it just keeps going round and round. The Fool comes up again, we get to the end, the World card, we're back to the Fool, around. and it's funny because I said in an interview last week or the week before, they asked me a question. I said, at 10:27 a.m., January 18th, 2015, that is what I believe to be truth. But if you ask me that question tomorrow or next year or 5 years, it probably will not be true. It may be because I'm not egotistical enough to believe I know it. I know the answers. Because the older I get, I feel the less I know, but the more comfortable I'm with not knowing it all.
Yes. One of my favorite quotes, it's quite a long one, so let me try and remember it, but it's by Hafiz, you know, the Sufi poet, So he says something, I'm going to paraphrase here, right? So it's like a student comes to him and says, you know, what's the like, you know, I want to be a saint or whatever. And he's like, the only difference between you and a saint is the fact that the saint is kind of like throwing his head back laughing when something bad happens, and just saying to God, I give up, and thinks it's hilarious. Yeah. Whereas you, student, you still think that you have a 1,000 serious moves. I'll send you it. It's the best. Because it's, you know, we always kind of feel like we're like, okay, almost there. I think I've learned the lesson. I think I'm getting better. And oh yeah, I get this. And then something will happen which will just kind of test you. And then you're right at the beginning again. Yeah. So it's that thing of like, we are all students. The best teachers are the eternal students.
Yeah. And I tell you, every person that I come in contact doing this work, and I mean every animal, everybody, but especially with the work, I am learning so much from them. When they send me confirmation or when they have questions about what I might have said, that's moments for me to learn, to grow, to experience. I think it was Wayne Dyer who said, we're not here. I don't use the term, this life is a school. I don't use that often, but I understand the analogy because that almost, again, like checking things off. I think sums up probably the biggest belief in my head is is God, source, all that is this conglomerate. And the only way for it to experience itself is to separate into us and have the contrast, the evil person be mean to the good person, and then one lifetime it's vice versa. I always used to say, why did Judas in the Bible get such a bad rap? He was just playing a role that he signed up for.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to betray Christ. And can you imagine when he finished that lifetime, like the accolades he got? Wow, what you did! That was a hard role you played. And then he probably came back as someone who was gloriously revered and reigned got to reign over something, just in a different way. But it's very interesting how, again, going back to Wayne Dyer, I think is what he said one time that I just went, that's it. We're here to experience something so we can take it back to source. And that means everything. That means love lost, hate good. In Conversations with God, I'll never forget reading the part about, Neil Donald Walsh talking about Hitler being just another role, another catalyst for so many people and not evil. And I remember holding the book thinking, oh my gosh, but I got it and I understood it because he took an example to the nth degree, because pretty much in our lifetime, that can be considered the most evil act in person. But I think about what that was for so many people, a catalyst. Think of every book that's ever been written of growth and love and light out of that incident, about that incident. But also there were so many people that their life stopped at that moment, even though they kept physically living. Rather than let it take them to a high vibration, to a denser, heavier, low thing. They experienced that as well.
Yeah, so. It's interesting, and those extremes are interesting because hearing you speak, it reminds me of how, one of the best feelings I think you can have is that moment after you've cried, extreme. It's like, it's the opposite of crying, actually. Yeah. And the same thing with like you were saying in your experience in death, like you might sometimes go into humor, but it's like the like sheer grief kind of wailing kind of sounds like laughing as well. Yeah. It's weird how those extremes are actually really similar.
Do you find, because this is, I've said this in videos, I said, people, we're all going to die. What part of that don't you understand? I don't think there's a person on this planet that does not realize we will stop breathing at some point. But yet, we're terrified. We're terrified of that moment.
I'm excited. Sorry, I'm very happy to be alive.
I said it in my video this morning. I said, the day I stop breathing, I'm going to be so happy. I said, but I also know I'm a warrior. I also believe in this lifetime, I'm going to live for a very long time, like 120 years. But if I hang up this video and I drive away for lunch and I get hit by a car and die, I'm okay. If that happens, I'm sorry, because this video won't get produced. but hopefully I'll get this produced before I do. But I will be like, wow, another one down. Am I coming back, or was that my last one? Who knows? So, but I tell you, we're getting long-winded, but it's been a beautiful conversation. So tell us, Rebecca, what's next in your life for people? You've got the book coming out in July. Is there anything you want to tease people with or leave us with? And it doesn't have to be some huge philosophical thing, but just maybe one slight little thing for people to take away.
Yeah, I guess, let me think. I just want to encourage people to really listen to that voice deep in their soul, which the thing about soul callings, which I've discovered, is that there is not one answer. Our soul's always calling us. Yeah. And our only job is to listen to those little calls every day rather than trying to work out what the bigger one is, because all the little yeses end up into the big hell yeah. And you kind of, I feel like by answering those little daily calls and saying yes, yes, yes every single time, particularly when it doesn't make sense, particularly when it's scary because you don't know where it's going, that's when we turn around and get to the point where we're like, whoa, this is better than I could have possibly imagined. Yeah. So that's what I would love people to go away.
I agree with you. People limit. I'm always like, I'll give you a prediction, but you know what? There could be something better than that out there. Huge. So don't limit yourself there. So, well, Rebecca, it has been a pleasure. You are adorable. I would even go as far as to say this is not me, so I'm hearing this from the other side. Someone is saying she is delicious. So,
that'd be Blair.
So who is that?
Oh, my friend Blair.
Okay. I'm literally hearing she is delicious. I don't know if you're a chocoholic, but they're showing me a lot of chocolate as well. So, or if that's her. But thank you so very much, and we'll get this video out very soon. So I want to say thank you and have a wonderful day. Bye bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye, guys.